Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garret Bryce.
How's it going?
And we are entering week 2 of the NFL season. It's all so fun, so it's going to fly by. I hope we're talking to a lot of people who are sitting out there 1-0.
Ooh, yeah.
But if not, no need to panic. It's only 1 week.
Only 1 week.
I mean, let's not, we want those wins, but it's only 1 week.
It's only 1 week. Weird things happen week 1.
Always.
Sometimes you lose when you really have the better team. It's okay.
Yep.
It'll straighten itself out.
Or sometimes you start Terry McLaurin instead of Garrett Wilson, and you lose because of that.
Yeah, things happen.
Bad managing happens.
It does.
It's good. That is what's consistent. A lot of consistency around there. But yeah, week 1, don't flip out. Don't worry about what you saw in week 1. You got to remember, week 1's always a weird year. Gary and I talked about it on Monday's podcast, because that's right. We're really planning on having a podcast coming out every single day of the week. In season,
Craziness.
Monday through Friday. You'll get 2 shows on Wednesday and Thursday with the original OG crew. This show will always come out on Wednesday and Thursdays. But we got a new Monday show with Jagger May. We have a Tuesday show coming out with Andrew Mott. And then Friday with Andrew Mott mixed in with Jagger May and Jared Wackerly when he can. But yeah, don't worry about week 1. You got to remember, things take time to settle in, right? Offenses are catching up to defenses where a lot of these guys didn't play in the preseason. A lot of people are kind of working them ways back in there. Me and Garrett talked about on week 1 where, hey, you go back and look at week 1's like week leaders, and none, I think 10% of those guys finish as a wide receiver 1, a tight end 1, a quarterback 1. So
Are you talking about previous years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's always a little weird. Things don't really start to cement themselves as fact in my eyes till right around week 5.
This is like Jell-O, right? It had nothing solidified yet. You just started
All
pouring
liquid.
You just started pouring the ingredients into the liquid. It's all good.
Hints and allegations, like it's a Paul Simon song, but some stuff we're going to talk through, and that's what we're here for. We're here to talk it out over the next 2 shows. We're going to kind of talk to today. We're covering Garrett.
Yeah, we've got a few different things we're covering. First, we've got some interesting notes from week 1, and we're going to decide how much does it really matter, because that's what we want to know. Sometimes we see the trends and we say, we can ignore that. And other things are like, actually, that might be something. So we kind of want to decipher some of that news versus noise type of thing there. And then we're also going to say, are they back? We had 5 receivers that are some old fogies that balled out in week 1.
How dare you call some of these guys old folk?
They're all younger than I am.
Yeah.
But
and they're way younger than me and Rich.
yeah, but that being said, we need to figure out hey, how much do we trust this? How much do we believe this? Are these receivers going to still be good assets all year long for your fantasy team? And then we always have a little extra bonus if we have time. So we'll see if we can get to it or not. But we are going to start with, does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What's the first question I hear you're going to ask if it matters next? I got some answers probably.
You've got to, Rich.
All season long, folks. I got answers for you.
Probably.
To let you know. I told you, start Travis Etienne. I told you. You'd be silly not to. These 2 fools over here are like, hey, Rich, I'm not going to buy that one. But I was like, oh, well.
The first thing on
I feel like this
the
is,
roster rescue show. He's like, I told you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I always start hot.
I feel like this is that Jell-O that I was just describing. This is 1 game. Calm down.
Yeah, I'm not jumping to conclusions, but then again,
But both feet are in.
But yeah, he's not jumping to conclusions, but he just fell off the cliff. It's fine. Right into the
just
water.
one
He's at least falling.
some things like that, when you preach them all summer,
Right.
then and they come to fruition week 1, you're a little bit more happy.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
Anyways,
of course.
What's the first question
This
you
is
got
all
loaded up
part
here?
of it. This is all part of it.
All right, so we're going to rank
baby.
these things 1 to 5. A 5 means the statement I said matters a lot. 4, it just matters. 3, matters very little. 2, does not matter at all. 1, not only does this not matter, but it is misleading.
It should be like a -1. I feel
Exactly.
like that one.
Exactly. So I'll read off a statement. We've got 5 statements, and I want to hear how much you guys think this actually matters or not. Let's start with number 1 here. Despite leading most of the game, the LA Chargers threw on nearly 60% of plays, a 5% increase from last year. So we talked a lot about them bringing in the running backs, and we saw a trend of even towards the end of the year, they were still a run-heavy team, even though they open it up and pass a little more. But in week one, they passed the ball a lot compared to what we're used to out of them. Does that matter?
Yeah, I looked into this. I'm going to give this a 5 because I think it really does matter. And I looked into this when you sent the question over, and it actually, when you look at the whole numbers of what they threw last year, you're right. It's a significantly more. But the second half of the season last year, they did really start to rely on the run a little bit more. And this is
the pass a little bit more.
Sorry, the pass a little bit more. And Justin Herbert, somebody on Monday's show, we were talking about like how high I had Justin Herbert in my rankings, like almost too high. Like Garrett's like, dude, you got Justin Herbert. We got to talk about this like as your 5th overall Superflex player. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna move him down to like 14. That's fair. I was like, but this is something I can move back up because I truly believe he's one of the special quarterbacks in the league. And he comes out and he lights week 1 up with 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Jim Harbaugh has been talking like he literally has been just slurping Justin Herbert, right? Like
that's right.
The Jello of Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
Justin
that's how you
Jello.
That's Bill Cosby. That's how it goes down. No drugs.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, obviously, yes. I feel like he is one of these rah-rah coaches that's going to really pump up his guys a bit, Harbaugh. But it's to a point, you know what I mean? Like he wanted to kind of build him up I think in the beginning of that season. Last year, he ran the ball pretty heavily because that's kind of his style. But as the season went on, like you mentioned, Rich, weeks 9 through 18, they were 12th in pass attempts in the league, and they were actually 10th in dropbacks for passes. So they really did kind of shift that philosophy as the year went on, and specifically the second half of the season. And I think that's just kind of going to continue. So I'm with you. You said a 5. I think it's I think it's a 5 as well. I think it really does matter a ton, that stat.
Yeah, I think we're going to be 3 for 3 on this one. I gave it a 5 as well. I was kind of waiting for, hey, we're going to be running the ball and we're use some play action and things like that. But they really seem to trust Justin Herbert. And in a big week 1 game, they just opened things up. And even in a lot of those like neutral plays where it's not a typical pass down or a typical run down based on the down and distance, they tended to pass a lot in those situations where I would have expected them to run. So I was close to making it a 4 because I do think that there's still a small chance that we see them once Hampton gets more comfortable, that they start to run it a little bit more. But why would they at this point? We see how successful it's been. We see how good he's been doing it. And against arguably the best team in football, or at least one of them,
right,
it was extremely, extremely successful. So I ended up going with a 5 because of that.
Yeah, a really good defense, definitely with a guy like Chris Jones on the defensive line there for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Justin Herbert, not only did he get done with his arm, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. We saw that they've been looking at the stretch the defense out. They bring back a Keenan Allen, who led the team in targets, to go with another savvy route runner, Ladd McConkey. But then you added a guy like Trey Harris, and you have Quentin Johnson as well, somebody who could take the top off of a defense. Why not throw the football? And it ended up 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. We saw Justin Herbert mobile, 7 rushes for 32 yards, and obviously he iced it. And I don't look for this to stop early. I mean, when you look ahead at the Chargers defenses are going to play, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Broncos would be tough. But after that, then you got the New York Giants, the Commanders, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Titans, Pittsburgh, the Jaguars. Like, he's got a really good stretch here. If you're in Dynasty and you're all in on Justin Herbert as I am, who has been faded back towards, still a first, top 12 quarterback, but maybe you could flip a younger guy that you can move for Justin Herbert. Maybe somebody's all in on Bo Nix. Somebody wants to get younger there.
Not much younger.
Yeah, not a whole lot younger. But even though Caleb Williams didn't have a great game yesterday, a guy like Caleb Williams, to the point where honestly, I would probably pay Caleb Williams plus for Justin Herbert at this point. I know I did a show a month ago talking about how Caleb Williams, one of the quarterbacks I was trying to get out from under and just kind of upgrade with a little bit more insulation. Not saying he's not insulated, but somebody I feel a little bit more confident about.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert's been one of those clear examples. I've had him ranked higher than probably consensus for a long time, and I'm really glad week 1 he came out and kind of showed that he can be an elite passer in this league.
Right. The only thing that's in the back of my mind, you mentioned something that's kind of in the back of your mind, with the running back kind of emerging. The only thing is, in this game, you kind of knew what you had to. You knew you were going to have to keep up with the Kansas City offense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
I mean, I think that kind of has to be part of your game plan. Is, hey, we'd love to run the ball and keep them off the field. The Kansas City Chiefs. But if we're not able to really do that and be dominant at it, we're going to have to just keep up with with this offense on the other side. So that's the only little bit that worries me in the back of my mind. But not enough that I don't think it matters a ton. Because I really do think nowadays in the NFL, you're going to have to win most of the time by throwing the ball, unless you have a truly, truly dominant running game like a Saquon Barkley or something like that.
And I don't know that their defense is dominant enough
Right.
at this point to play that style of football. If they had the Denver Broncos defense, I might move this down to like a 3, to where I would say, I think they're going to regress back to the mean.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because their defense is so good. I don't think they have an elite unit over there, so I think they are going to have to do some shootouts.
And another kind of point there as well is if Mario and Hampton really starts to pick up and they can establish a run, all that's going to do is help Justin Herbert even more, right? Maybe instead of playing 2 high, they bring it back to a little bit more 1 high in that manner. So we'll see. All good things for the Chargers. Chargers looked absolutely fantastic. For a team that I'm always rooting for because they always end up with players that I love coming out. Ladd McConkey, I love Justin Herbert. Going all the way back to Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson. They always end up, even Vincent Jackson. The Chargers just kind of manifested to one of my other favorite teams in the NFL. Like the Browns are my favorite. I don't have a second favorite, but I like the Chargers the second, the most of all the rest.
It is funny how that kind of works. I'm kind of that way with the Colts. I always kind of liked Peyton Manning, and then I liked Andrew Luck a lot. And then I was a big Jonathan Taylor guy. And so it is funny how that kind of oh yeah, when they do well, I'm not upset about it.
For sure. So who's next? What's the next question you got here?
All right, number 2. How much does this matter? Jackson Smith and Jigba had 13 targets in this game, which was good for a 59%, nearly 60% target share in week 1, with no other player on the team receiving over 3 targets. So for you guys, how much does that matter?
I mean, I want to say a 5. I don't think it's that. I think it's probably, it matters. To me, it's a 4. I don't think I can go 5 on this one because I think this was a weird week, right? I mean, there are other pass catchers on this team that are going to be getting. I mean, Cooper Kupp is there; he's going to be getting some targets. But I don't think it's a 5 for me.
Yeah.
Oh, to me, this is a very strong 5. Almost a stronger 5 than the last one.
I mean, I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm very, very high on Jackson Smith and Jigba. I just don't think you can expect that kind of output every single.
It is
60%. Nobody's ever going to have a 60% target share.
Which is gross, and I agree. That is.
I mean,
really
you're happy
gross.
with 25,
27 for an elite guy.
Yeah. And here's why if we're not going off of. So the question was, Jackson Smith got 13 targets, right? His share in week 1 with no other player getting over 3. How strong do I feel about that? I'm a 5 because you mentioned Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp to me looks washed. He looks. I mentioned him over a week ago. I was like, isn't it kind of weird that we went through this entire offseason and not one beat reporter snippet, nothing. They always try to talk these players up about Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp's this. Not a mention, not a birdie, not a telegram, not a smoke signal, not even a AOL instant message.
I just figured they were so far west we just weren't here.
No Morse code transaction.
The smoke signals just faded by the time they got to us.
When I got the horses in the stable, I checked my Western Union, and they weren't there either. Right. But listen, he saw that 53%. He had a 90% air yardage share as well,
which is nuts.
And he had 124 of 150 Seahawks.
It's just unsustainable. Defenses will start taking that away if that's all you do.
I just, coming off he's such a savvy route runner.
I get it.
Coming off a wide receiver 1, he looks locked in as another wide receiver 1 this year for him. And to me, the reason I feel so confident is there's nothing else around him. I do expect them to try to they're going to run the ball. And I know we're going to talk about the Seattle running game in tomorrow's show, so I don't want to get deep into that convo right now. But when they're going to throw the ball, which is what you're going to have to do in Seattle, right? The defense isn't good enough for them just to get these big leads here, no matter even when they establish a run. And that's okay. I think we're looking at double-digit targets for Jackson Smith and Jigba week in and week out. I think not only is he going to be locked in as a wide receiver 1, I think what was he, wide receiver 9 last year, somewhere around there?
Yeah, he was 9.
Yeah, right around 9. I think he could, with how many targets he's going to see, kind of everything we were talking about, Drake London, which I'm still all in on Drake London. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba has entered the conversation this year for being a target hog, and he's going to be a top 6 fantasy football receiver if he can stay healthy. Strictly on amount, just like how we love running back carries on targets alone, because there is, I disagree. There's nothing else around him at all that I feel confident about.
Listen, but that's just unsustainable production as far as the share. Now they didn't have a ton of pass attempts,
right?
So I think that helps. That
right? So they didn't throw the ball 40 times.
I took it as the share. You took it as the targets. I feel confident that he'll be getting double-digit targets per week. Yeah. I just don't think he's going to get a nearly 60% target share. Anything like so. I guess my 4 is on the share. Like it matters, but there's no way.
Yeah, that's unsustainable.
That is unsustainable. I think the 13 targets. That's probably a little high, but he can definitely get double digits.
I think the reason why this matters a ton is because this is a sign of things to come. You're right. There's no way he's going to be even sniffing 40% on the year. Like that. That's just not. We've never seen anything like that. But could he maybe exceed 30%? I think it's in the realm of possibility.
Sure. It's within the realm there.
Anything's possible. I remember when Super Mario 3 came out, I thought there was a 0% chance I was going to get it, and I got it a week before it even came out. So
look at this guy.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything's possible. Like, even impossible seems possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
I talked about him today, and if you want to go see, we will eventually be releasing these onto the podcast feed, so you get to hear it there as well. But on YouTube right now, Andrew Mott and I talked about players that we would downgrade to, and that was one of them for me. I would downgrade to Jackson Smith and Jigba. So
from
I don't know if I want to give it away, but
all right, yeah, don't give it away. But from a better player,
everybody ahead of him,
more established player. I got it.
No, it's fine. It was Malik Neighbors. It was Malik Neighbors. I'll give it away. Give it away. Which I know seems scary. Like, oh my gosh,
you probably get a big plus.
But that's the thing, you get a nice plus. And realistically, what's the huge difference? They're both playing with like quarterbacks, former first round guys that I think are both going to see ridiculous amounts of targets this year. So I don't see much of a big difference in their situation. They play stylistically a little bit different,
correct,
but JSN leads to more actual receptions where Malik Neighbors maybe more big plays type of thing. But all that being said, I'm also more concerned about like Malik Neighbors health wise. We saw last year he missed some time. Then in camp, same things start to crop back up.
That was going to be my point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I mean, piggyback back on, I think JSN right now, even calling a big week, is a perfect player for a team that's in rebuild mode.
Yes.
And you have the luxury of having a CeeDee Lamb, a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, a guy of that caliber,
get a nice plus.
to get a plus for that. Like if you could flip, Jamar Chase into JSN plus a first, right? Because like when you're in rebuild, it's not just about like it's great to have that one player. You need more. So that first is so much more.
Yep.
And I think JSN's still only 23 years old. So
he's young. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's about 3 years younger than Jamar. Not saying he's better than Jamar, but I think he's the kind of player that you want to kind of start building a foundation around.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into our third one here. Justin Fields scored 29.5 points in week 1 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers before the primetime games on Sunday night and Monday night. That was tied for first place. So how much does it matter that he did that versus his old team and what we traditionally think of as a good defense?
So I have been down on Justin Fields this kind of whole offseason, and maybe since he came into the league. I thought he looked really good. Like visually, he actually looked like he was getting through some things and making some pretty decent throws. So I don't know that I don't want to get caught in the week 1 trap because I know what my eyes have seen for years and years and years. I'm going to say it's a 4. It matters because he played really well. He's in a new system and it looks like it's kind of fitting him. And we all know what this guy can do with the ball in his hands from a rushing standpoint. From a fantasy football standpoint, he's always been really, really solid. What I was worried about is this dude going to be able to hold it together and kind of take that next step and become a guy that an offensive coordinator can rely on? In week 1, he looked like that guy. So it matters. So for me, it's a 4.
Yeah, I have to agree with Matt here wholeheartedly. A 4. I was unbelievably impressed. The new OC, it's Tanner Engstrand. Is that his name? He's from Detroit.
He's from Detroit.
Right? Yep.
And I love the offense that he put together for him. And you're right, Matt. Justin Fields looked night and day.
He looked comfortable. And
he did.
And
looked calm and poised.
And that's the thing that he's kind of always had an issue with is like getting pressure and then not really handling it well.
And what's important here too is like it wasn't like how we saw Daniel Jones come in and play the was it Dolphins, right? Like the worst, arguably the worst defense in the league. Definitely probably the worst secondary in the league in linebacker core. He comes in versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really good offensive line, pretty good secondary. They go out there and make some trades. Had guys like Jalen Ramsey out there.
Yeah.
He looked really good. He was 16 of 22 for 218 yards and a touchdown. That's very solid. But more importantly, wasn't just his 16 of 22. It was the throws that he made. They were accurate. They were on point. They were catchable footballs. And we know what he can do. We talked about Justin Fields, right? When he taken snaps as a starter, he's a QB1 on fantasy. And he showed us here too. 12 rushes, 48 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. That is always going to be the bread and butter. If he can step up and add some passing traits to this game, like I said, 16 and 22, 218, that's good enough for me. Don't have a ton of receiving weapons out there to help him. Obviously, Garrett Wilson out there seeing like a 50% target share as well. His old college teammate, they look great as well. Great for Garrett Wilson, great for Justin Fields. I came away extremely impressed. I traded away one of my only Justin Fields shares. I tried to get out from under it. I figured out what I got. I was really happy with it. But even now, it's like, man, this is a guy who now, if he can keep doing this, again, week 1, not overreacting,
correct,
but like this is what you want to see. Definitely versus a team like Pittsburgh. Like again, if this was worse versus some like Jacksonville Jaguars or Carolina Panthers or the Miami Dolphins, way different. Not way different. Different.
It is different because they know him. They just had him.
Oh yeah.
There for
There's
an entire
anybody that
year.
would know his weaknesses, it would be Pittsburgh.
It is, and he went out and played a good game. Obviously, they lost, but it was down to
That
the
was
wire.
not on him.
No, it was not on him. Right.
The fumble on the kickoff really screwed him there at the end of the game.
Yeah,
So.
I actually copied the notes here. I love Fantasy Points Data, that website. Like we use them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best sites out there, and they have it here. 64% of Fields' throws were perfectly accurate, and 77% were catchable. That's from the Scott Barrett report. So absolutely impressed with Justin Fields and what he's able to do. And he's a championship caliber football player right now. So if you have anybody out there, if you're a win now team, maybe you got Brock Purdy's banged up. Maybe you made a lot of moves like me for Trevor Lawrence, who did not look good whatsoever. And you're looking for a player that you could possibly get. If you can get Justin Fields for first right now and you're a championship caliber team, I'm in on that because I feel like he's going to make a difference this year. Finishes as a QB1, which is going to be a top 20 overall scorer. And he's going to be a difference maker between you winning at the end of the year and not.
Yeah. So once again, we tend to see these very similar. I had a 4 on this as well. There's still room where the other shoe could drop and he could turn back into a pumpkin. But I think the fact that it was Pittsburgh, of all the teams, a good defense and a team that knew him, that really just elevated things for me. So I gave it a 4 as well. Let's move on to number 4 here for us. Despite playing one of the worst statistical defenses in 2024, Bryce Young had a rough week 1. 18 of 35, 154 yards, 1 touchdown that was kind of in like garbage time, and it was mostly Chuba Hubbard doing all the work, and 2 interceptions. So
and a fumble.
And a fumble as well. So how
Tua Tagovailoa out there?
very similar numbers. Very similar numbers. So how much does this matter? I know he was a guy that had a strong finish to 2024, but he looked like the same guy that started 2023.
I give this, Matt, a 3 at the very most, because otherwise, like you're cherry picking here, right? Because it's Bryce Young, he didn't look great, but like we talk about, some of these quarterbacks take time every week 1 because it was terrible. It was a terrible performance.
It was a weird game too.
Versus Jacksonville.
It was. They had
the
rain delay,
a weather delay,
Correct.
all that kind of stuff.
But he did not look at all. This is no excuse. But for week 1, I'm not going to overreact whatsoever here on Bryce Young, because otherwise we can sit here and talk about Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott. Tons of other quarterbacks went out here and laid duds. I mean, Joe Burrow, they had 7 yards of offense the second half of that game. You know what I mean? Like
the difference, though, is like coming in, the expectations for Joe Burrow and Bryce Young are very different. We have a much larger sample size of good success for Joe Burrow. We have a very small sample size for Bryce Young.
My point is not him specifically, Joe Burrow. I'm just talking about, if you look across the league at quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks.
Sure, there was plenty that had bad week 1.
Less pass attempts, missed passes.
I think Garrett's point is there's not a lot backing up Bryce is good to
Correct.
offset this really poor performance. I think is what you were saying.
My point is like the point is like we have to get a number. How much does it matter? I don't think it matters a ton. I'm giving it a 3. Like I'm not saying it's a 5. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all. It's right in the middle. Like okay. Now if week 2 comes out, obviously the number is going to start to change. Like he has to do something. But just after week 1, I'm not going. Well, that's it. Bryce Young bust again. It's all over. I'm not going to do that yet. It was a horrible performance. But we saw, if we're being fair, again, we saw a lot of them throughout the league this week.
No doubt about it. This is another one I do not want to freak out about and say it matters a ton because it looked bad, dude. It looked bad. It felt like it mattered a ton. But I am going to give it like this was the weird performance here with a weather delay. It's crappy, wet weather, all that kind of stuff. And things can just start snowballing on you. And I feel like that is kind of what happened here. I hope they do like a nice little reset here and really get back and grind. We see this kind of stuff happen to teams and they can right the ship still. So I don't want to bury this whole situation. Can we go half points or no? This is
not the likely-o-meter.
No likely-o-meter.
You're like 2.7, 2.5.
No, I was going to go 3.5.
Okay. Between a 3 and a 4?
I'll round up to 4.
Okay.
It matters to me, but I'm not going to freak out. I mean, 4 might be too much. I'm going to go 3.
You're going to go 3, so we got 2 3s.
I'm waffling.
I am on a 4. I am at a 4. I'm very concerned, and I get it. It's a weird game.
One more week of that. If I see that again, it's a 5. I'm full blown.
I'm skipping 4 altogether.
I'm skipping 4. I'm going 3 to 5.
100%. Like I said, I'm concerned. That's why it's a 3. But like I'm not freaking out in the least bit.
If I have Bryce Young, I'm very. And now, granted, I've not been the biggest Bryce Young supporter.
Me neither.
So that is part of it. But it's Jacksonville. Like if there was any team for you to like, hey, let's start the year off right. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they're going to have to come out and they're going to have to play Tampa Bay, who's going to throw a lot of different looks at them and things like.
Who's their DC in Jacksonville with the new head coach?
I don't know.
That's the thing I don't know. That's what I could not remember, and I didn't want to I didn't want to. I know you referenced that, and I forgot to look it up. I didn't want to bury them because last year they were bad, but they got a whole new coaching staff.
They do, but they didn't add a ton to that defense with Travis Hunter not really playing much defense. He was playing offense for the most part. Yeah. So, I mean, he's playing mostly offense. So they didn't really add a ton to the defensive side of the football over the course of the season.
By the way, while we're talking about Hunter, did I hear somebody kind of float out the idea that he might start playing kind of maybe next week it's defense a little bit more. And
I heard that too.
Yeah, that's the kind of crap that worried the crap out of me and why I have no Travis.
That's just a rumor at this point. It's encouraging he played mostly offense again.
It's encouraging, but it's really discouraging to hear that there's already rumors floating around going, hey, maybe next week it's more of a defensive week.
Did you see the game? Trevor Lawrence needs all the help he can get.
Yeah.
Throw an accurate ball, you hippie.
So I think for me, like the fact that it was.
And maybe
what we think is not a good
both
defense.
Quarterbacks played bad. Maybe it really was field conditions, all that kind of weather and all that kind of stuff kind of contributing to
maybe, but I still only got this much of a sample size at the end of his second year.
Right.
Like I need.
For those of you guys listening, it's very small.
It's very small.
Very small amount that he just showed.
Just not much. Look on YouTube. Go to YouTube specifically for my hands. For me, I am really concerned, especially with, before it was, it's a new coach, a new system. Nope, we got the same head coach, same system, the one that made Baker Mayfield kind of help revitalize his career and the one that revitalized Geno's career.
I think we can all agree that Bryce Young is no Baker Mayfield.
No, he is no Baker Mayfield.
Most aren't.
For me, it's a 4, and I know you guys were like teetering, like you were 2 to 3, you were kind of 3 to 4. I'm 4, but if I'm leaning 3 or 5, I'm closer to 5 than I am anything else.
I don't freak out after week 1 like that.
Listen, I freak out after the first 2 years.
Internally, it's a 5. Externally, I'm going to let my persona come to light, and I'm going to go
cool
3.
over here.
I think it rebounds.
If he doesn't, boom, matters a ton.
Well, good thing we do shows every week.
There we go. All right. Last one here that we're going to get to before our next segment. Harold Fannin. Harold Fannin, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 63 yards, outpaced David Njoku with 6 targets, 3 receptions and 37 yards. So we outpaced him in targets, receptions, and yards. Doesn't matter.
I'm going to give this one a matters very little 3. So I'm right in the middle. I think it matters somewhat. Fannin has announced himself kind of as a guy that's going to be a receiving weapon in this offense.
Absolutely.
But I don't think David Njoku's going anywhere either. And he out targeted him this game. I don't know that that's going to be a week in and week out occurrence. The other pass catchers looked good if your name wasn't Jerry Jeudy dropping balls all over the place.
I mean, fair. Tillman dropped the ball.
Right, he did.
Jeudy dropped the ball.
That
Fannin dropped
turned
the
into
ball.
picks.
Both those guys dropped balls that turned into picks. Jeudy dropped one that he should have caught on 4th down as well.
Yeah.
So there were multiple drops by Jeudy.
There were so many chances to win that game.
Another story. I was there. Just another story of my life that adds to my apathy of only the Browns lose the game. Like literally the only team ever where a team only scored 7 yards the second half of the game, they lost. Like
the Bengals, they had 7 yards of offense in the second half of that game.
And only the Browns, where the ball goes right off of the receiver's hands and right into the defender's hands, and they score.
And then they do
your
it again.
kicker misses extra point, so you lose the game, and then he misses a 36-yard game winner. A 36-yard game winner.
That's not
so
even
this
far.
is the story of my life as a Browns fan, and I'm not going to get worked up. But anyways, Harold Fannin. I'm with you. If I would give half points, I lean closer to 4 than a 3 because it's not just a game as well. There's been a lot of momentum for Harold Fannin throughout camp, going back to OTAs for how much the coaching staff love him. This is a player that I loved a ton coming out. I was probably the highest on Fannin. Remember, he led college football in receptions. He led it in yards.
I think they want to rely on both these tight ends, and
so too.
we'll just sprinkle in the wide receivers. I think that's kind of how they view this thing.
I mean, I've said all year they're going to run tons of 12 personnel. Yeah. Now that Quinshawn Signing's coming back, they're going to run the ball a ton. They could have not established a run versus the Bengals. That's going to change. You and I talked about Dylan. We'll talk about the Cleveland backfield, I think, on the next show.
We're actually not touching.
Oh, no, because we talked about that on yesterday's show. So tune in that show, and I kind of go, yesterday's show, I kind of go over the Cleveland backfield and what I think of it, especially Dylan Sampson and why I'm still in on Dylan Sampson. So check out yesterday's show. But I do think they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. I would love for them to use Harold Fannin in the slot. He is a big slot receiver. Yep. He looked. Listen, man, and I know he's a big dirty slot. And for me, I mean, he saw the most targets with 9, 20% share there, and he looked really good.
He looked polished for a rookie, man.
He did.
His movement
didn't look too big.
Getting open, his routes were very nice. I mean, he looked like a veteran out there. So for me, this tells me. One, we talked about this yesterday. I think this is terrible for David Njoku. For somebody I thought was going to be like the 4th overall scoring tight end, I think that is now out the window. He's not dead in the water, but I think that's out the window.
I think they're both valuable. But
I do.
But they cannibalize each other a bit.
I wouldn't say it's out the window because I do think David Njoku, I mean, 6 targets is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible for a tight end.
No.
But I think this could very easily, we saw this last year with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. First game, Isaiah Likely had
tight end 1 overall.
Tons of targets, and Mark Andrews had none, or very little.
Njoku was tied for 10th in targets this week
at the tight end position.
Tight end
yeah,
position.
so I mean, it's not a bad number, but I do think we could see a similar thing where Isaiah Likely only had 1 game after that where he led Mark Andrews in targets. I think this could be the same type of thing, but I'm giving it a 3 as well because Harold Fannin's not going away.
Correct.
Like this is going to be closer to the norm. Maybe the numbers are skewed slightly differently, but 15 targets to the tight end position overall, I do think is going to be fairly normal.
When I say dead in the water, I believe in David Njoku. Like he's not like somebody I'm sliding off.
You're just saying as like
a top
number 1 overall
for
potential
tight end 4 that we thought where he's going to come in here and just see a ton of targets to be like the number 2 weapon in this offense. And it's not even just Harold Fannin. I mean, Cedric Tillman looked really good. Again,
this is actually bad news for
back.
fantasy pass catchers in Cleveland, period, because it's just muddying the water.
They have 4 really good options. Tillman looked just like he did with pre-concussion, where he's a wide receiver 1. You mentioned he said wide receiver 1 overall for a couple of weeks there. He looked really good. Jeudy got open. We saw some of that old Denver Jeudy where he's dropping footballs again. Had a ton of drops last year as well. It's his biggest crux. But to me, I'm looking for from a dynasty standpoint, I am looking for any window because right now Harold Fannin's name is hot. I'm looking for some window before they go down. Tight end premium leagues, tight end leagues. I'm all in on Harold Fannin in the future for this kid. I think he has a chance to be something
Njoku's in the last year of his deal.
special. He is. And I think this gives them more reason not to have to sign Njoku and spend their money elsewhere, which just sucks. I love David Njoku. I really do.
Yes.
But like, you got to be smart with your cap. To me, this is definitely if David Njoku leaves in this offense, Harold Fannin now could be that guy we were talking about as a top 6 fantasy football tight end. I think that window is there. I think he showed enough coming from college already to week 1 that he could do this at a pro level as well. And remember, this guy just turned 21 years old. He's extremely young. So for him to do this at such a young age, hasn't been playing tight end that long as well. I think the sky is a limit here. And I am in on Harold Fannin in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And might do a point, like, you got to be a little bit savvy. He goes down a little bit, like, after this weekend, say Njoku has 2 big weeks. Like, I'd be very interested in finding ways to get Harold Fannin on my roster. What looks like an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow, especially if I use some vets, a couple second-round picks, a veteran, like, find a thirst for a running back to have my roster. And honestly, if I'm in tight end premium, I would love to use the minimum of, like, a Bill Krosky merit for a guy like Harold Fannin in tight end premium leagues. And we can kind of talk about that later when we do the running back show. But I think for Bill, who's a great story, a player we loved from a consistent fantasy standpoint, where receptions really kind of matter as well. I think in a tight end premium league, I think Harold Fannin would be the better long-term asset here. And I think you could easily, for momentum right now, flip Bill Krosky merit for a guy like Harold Fannin. And honestly, from that name standpoint, I know we're going to talk about Washington here later.
Yeah.
I think, and I love the kid. I think he's solid. I have a lot of shares, but I'm going to be very interested in flipping those shares for other assets going forward. So before going to our next segment, I got to tell you about our friends over at FastDraft, right? You want to turn your Sunday film study into instant cash? FastDraft's revolutionary in-season contests are built for Dynasty players just like us. Here's the deal. Right now, all you got to do is get in there, draft just 6 skill position players, no quarterbacks, no kickers, then apply the captain boosters that multiply points up to 2 times. That sleeper rookie you discovered in our film room, boost him and watch your profits soar when he explodes. A guy like Harold Fannin. Choose between Quick 6 Super Slam or Flex 6 Frenzy tournaments with guaranteed prize pools. First place takes 30%. That's a $300 profit on a single $5 entry. This is where Dynasty Nerds dominate. While others chase last week's stats, you have our Rookie Nerd Score, exclusive film breakdowns, and Dynasty GM insights showing exactly who's about to break out. Use the promo code NERDS, and FastDraft will match your deposit 100% up to $100. But wait, there's more. If you're new to Dynasty Nerds and what we're doing, make your deposit, enter any contest, and we'll hook you up with a free annual Dynasty Nerds membership. That's a $70 value of our premium tools, our film room, the app, and everything else that's coming and getting released here within season. And if you're already a member, don't worry. We're going to hook you up too. We got your $25 gift card going to our merch store. You got some gear, some hoodies, anything you want. So go ahead, get in there, use that promo code NERDS. Don't watch another Sunday without profiting your Dynasty knowledge. Use the code NERDS and let's turn this expertise into some serious cash. The link is in the show notes. All right, next segment.
We're ready for the next one here. All right, we're going to talk about 5 wide receivers. We're going to kind of ask the question, are they back? These are guys that were big names 2, 3, 4 years ago that maybe fell down boards a little bit, but they showed us something in week 1. So what I want us to do is I want us to go player by player and talk about, do we think this player's back? Is this something that we can trust for this season? And maybe a couple of these guys even beyond this season. And then maybe even possibly rank these 5. Seeing how you guys feel about them moving forward.
Dynasty ranking?
Little dynasty ranking. Yeah. I'm kind of curious to see where you guys
That's fine.
finish on these guys. So let's start off with a guy that was one of the top scorers at the position this week, Mr. Deebo Samuel. He ended up going from San Francisco to Washington, and it wasn't Terry McLaurin that was the top receiver this week. It was Deebo Samuel, 22 fantasy points there in that offense, had a rushing touchdown as well. So Deebo Samuel, do you think he's back?
Deebo Samuel for me is somebody that I've been talking about now for a little over a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been very, like I loved all the beat reporters.
The camp reports were really
out.
good about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, him and Jaden Daniels rapport. He's in tip-top shape. He's just an electric playmaker. And we saw that with a big run this week. That being said, I want to say this 2 different ways. I do think he's back, okay, to a very relevant fantasy football player. I do want to bring the reins back on him, though, for what he did this week a little bit because of two reasons. One, I think a third of those points came off the run where he scored a rushing touchdown. Yep. So you got to take a little bit of
that's not going to be a week in, week out.
It's going to be not a week in, week out. And two, Terry McLaurin just got back into camp. So anytime that happens, it does take a little bit of time for those guys to kind of get that rapport back. And we saw it. Jaden overthrew Terry, which could have been a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, it was a big play
in that game as well. So I am very excited for my Deebo Samuel shares to have him back. I think he will have weeks like this where he will give you wide receiver 1 weeks. And I think there's a very good chance with the system that he's in and the teammates around him and the weapons that they have, like with Bill and Austin Eckler, that Deebo has a very high chance to finish as a wide receiver 2 this year.
And that's what I was going to ask. Do you think you could trust him on a contender as your wide receiver 3?
Oh, I'd be very happy right now with Deebo Samuel as my wide receiver 3.
Because obviously, if you're a contender, your wide receiver 3 needs to be a wide receiver 2 if you're actually a contender.
I think we're going to see some consistability with Deebo Samuel. And I mentioned this when we were talking about
so like an 8-point floor kind of thing where
as a floor because and I mentioned this before.
I feel good about an 8-point floor.
Okay.
But
the reason I said so is like Deebo's the kind of player that you manufacture touches for, right? Sure. So he's going to get those carries, even though like they may not all go for those big like 18-yard touchdown run, 19-yard touchdown runs, but he's going to be manufactured touches, a lot of stuff, in the flat, short, the line of scrimmage, some comebacks, some digs. So for me, I feel like if he's my wide receiver 3, I feel very good about my roster construction right now because I just mentioned that he's a player that I think will give you wide receiver 1 weeks, will finish as a wide receiver 2. Anytime you get a player like that in your wide receiver 3 slot over a guy like Devontae Smith or something along those lines, that's how you win Dynasty Fantasy Football Championships. And I think that's what Deebo's going to do here in 2025. Now, long term, no, I don't think this is a great long term. He's only on a 1-year deal. Yeah. But for this season, I am in on Deebo Samuel just like I was 30 days ago.
This one's tough for me because I am obviously Terry's stuff is going to grow as he just kind of gets back up to speed. So, the 33% target share that he had this week, Deebo Samuel, that's going to go down.
It's going to dip.
Yeah. So that's going to go down. You have to wonder how many manufactured rush attempts they're going to give him. I mean, I'm sure they're going to keep doing some because he's Deebo Samuel and that's what he's good at. And that's why you bring him in, to be quite honest, is to kind of bring that element to your offense. So I think they're going to do that. And there was some chatter about him getting some more, longer targets as opposed to stuff at or near the line of scrimmage like he did with San Francisco. So there might be a little bit of volatility there if they start going downfield with a guy like Deebo. I mean, we'll see. This is all up in the air. Is he back? I think he's relevant. Whereas in last year he was hard to rely on, right? I mean, and that is the point. If that's the standard, then yes, he's back.
Yeah, I think he's back to a guy that I can start with relative confidence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think we're going to ever see his, wide receiver 3 finish overall, like we saw 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, whatever it was. So yeah, I don't think we see that, but I do think even looking at this team, this game, the Giants, even though they are not a good football team right now, they are a good defense.
Yeah.
They do have some, especially on that defensive line. They have some great players.
One of the best in the league.
Yes, on that defensive side of the football. So I do think that we could see even higher point totals for this team. They scored 21 points, which is a fine game, but this is a potentially prolific offense. I think they're going to average more in the 25 to 27 points per game type of range. So I think there's even more scoring potential in the future than this team showed in week 1. So even if there's some weeks where, maybe he doesn't get in the end zone, at least we're seeing more long drives, which leads to more yards and more opportunities for him to get fantasy points.
If a guy like Austin Eckler gets dinged, which is fairly common for a guy like, I believe he's actually got something already.
Yep.
Then you could really see this kind of thing expand as they kind of use Deebo as a supplement here. Because obviously Bill didn't really get any. He got no targets or anything like that. He was just running the ball. So they need something out of the pass catching role, and they could definitely use a guy like Deebo Samuel in that role.
And going back to prolific offense, I agree with you 100%. Like I said, Jaden Daniels is my sneaky NFL MVP this year. I think this team's going to find themselves in the red zone a lot. And I think that's where Deebo Samuel really becomes a weapon. And I think double-digit touchdowns are probably not out of the realm of possibility for Deebo. If anything, if you had a gun to my head today, because obviously he already has one in the books, I would say 10 touchdowns for Deebo Samuel is a very strong possibility, which is also going to propel his fantasy football finish.
Right. I mean, hard thing to predict, but But for a guy like him, yes, I could see that as well.
All right, let's go to our next one here. This team had a fantastic and somewhat unexpected dominant week 1 here.
Not if you're part of the Daniel Jones fan club.
Hey-o.
What up?
Suck it, nerds.
He was our second highest rated riser on the week if you listen to our risers and fallers show.
I talked about Daniel Jones a lot on yesterday's show too, so I don't want to gush here. Yeah, hear my take on Daniel Jones. It was yesterday's show.
Yeah, but we want to talk about one of his main pass catchers here in Michael Pittman Jr. This is a guy that, of all the guys we're going to cover, he's one of the youngest guys, even though he's definitely a veteran.
He was the guy that I was thinking of when I said, how dare you? How dare you, old guy?
I mean, he's not
27.
Young. He's like right in his prime, man.
Not even. He's just
entering.
His back is more like 37 now. So, I mean.
Tricky backs, man. They're the worst, dude.
So, he had a 20-point game in that first game. But it was against a pretty bad defense and whatnot. So is Michael Pittman back?
I mean, I think this is a sustainable one to me. There's not like another guy that I don't think is going to emerge and start taking targets from him. He had 27.6% of the target share this past week, and obviously, just having a proficient quarterback that's kind of reliable is going to boost him naturally, and being not having a broken back will also boost him naturally back to kind of what he was. So for me, Michael Pittman's back, just because he's not injured and he's finally got a quarterback that doesn't stink.
I agree 100%. He is back. Same thing. He's my wide receiver 3. I feel very comfortable in this offense. Shane Steichen has always had a really good offense. That's how he got a head coaching job in the first place. We saw that he's been looking for a mobile quarterback. He got that in Daniel Jones. We it's one of the reasons why I became the president of the fan club early on, was like he was one of the most underrated athletic quarterbacks in the league. And I don't mean that like, mildly athletic. I'm talking super athletic when it comes to rushing, like up to like he was like a rushing quarterback. Like that's what you expect him. I know when you look at him, you don't expect that, but that's what he is. And we saw that again here this week.
A couple years ago, he had 800 rushing yards? Like he had a big rushing season a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll look it up.
His rush attempts are on par with guys like just like how Jaden Daniels was last year, the Josh Allens. Like he's up there in those like top 5 guys when it comes to rushing for a guy like Daniel Jones. And to have that with
708 into 2022.
And have a guy like Jonathan Taylor, and then you introduce a guy like Tyler Warren. But my goodness, Tyler! I actually updated my rankings this morning, and I bumped Tyler Warren up.
I moved him up quite a bit.
I moved him up significantly. Yeah. I think he's my tight end 4 overall. Sam Laporta also looked really good for somebody who was kind of doo-doo on. He looked fantastic.
Sam Laporta or Corson Loveland?
Sam Laporta looked.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking rookies.
I'm just like, because I have Tyler Warren right behind Sam Laporta.
Gotcha.
But he's right there. He's my tight end 4 right now. He looked absolutely fantastic in this offense. But going to Michael Pittman is, listen, they're going to run. They ran a lot of 2 wide receiver sets. So like all the Josh Downs hype kind of got pushed down a little bit. Because like Alec Pierce was out there a ton as well to take the top off. And that's what Alec Pierce does. Like he's going to take the top off. So to me, Michael Pittman is the clear number 1 target amongst the receivers in this game. Obviously, we saw Tyler Warren come in, and he led the way in targets, right? But Michael Pittman, from a receiver standpoint, if they're going to have to cover the middle of the field with Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren here, this is going to really open up the sidelines or even some good crossing routes for Michael Pittman. I think double-digit points could be very consistent. Again, a team probably playing from a negative game script a lot of the times as well. Yes, this was a really good matchup for them, but a really good start. I feel really comfortable for Michael Pittman right now as a value as my wide receiver 3. And if somehow like you have him in your flex spot, even more the merrier. Great game. 20 points without really scoring a touchdown is fantastic. So I'm really happy for Michael Pittman.
Yeah, and something that's really positive, because I think he's back as well. Something that's really positive. You think right now, this is a not great division that they're playing in right now. Yes, I know that Houston's defense is solid and they're not bad in Tennessee either, but like overall, this is a very, very winnable division. Jacksonville's defense, we're not expecting much from this year, but we're hoping for a little more from their offense. But we'll see how kind of this all plays out. But when you look at a game like this, and we're never projecting them to score points on every single drive, which is unheard of.
Unheard of.
Literally, it has not happened this century in the 2000s. So it is a very, very rare feat for a team to be able to do something like that. But I do think this is kind of what all three of us were calling for, where we said, if you have Michael Pittman or any pass catcher, any weapon on this team, you're wanting Daniel Jones to be the starting quarterback.
Correct.
The only people that want Anthony Richardson to be the starting quarterback is if you have Anthony Richardson. Everybody else, you're hoping for Daniel Jones. And I think he showed enough. And he reminds me, I mentioned this in yesterday's show too, but it reminds me so much of the Ryan Tannehill situation. Former first-round pick. That was an athletic player that could move with his legs and get open. Failed in his first place, but was able to run a system really well and actually became a quarterback one for multiple seasons with a new team. Like, this could follow that same script. I know it was the Dolphins. I know it was only 1 week. There's a lot that could still go wrong.
And the Dolphins are such a disaster.
They are a dumpster fire.
But like I told Garrett yesterday, this is exactly what the Colts did is what you would expect a quarterback to take that next step to do versus a team like that. So same thing. We talk about Bryce Young, like, why didn't he do this? Or Trevor Lawrence, why didn't he do this? Daniel Jones did just do that. So I love the Ryan Tannehill comp, Garrett, because I think that's a really good example. And he finished those 2 years in Tennessee as quarterback 7 and quarterback 7. I think it was back-to-back 7
7
overall.
and 8, something like that.
Right in that range, and turned Tennessee and Mike Vrabel into a playoff team.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes that's all you want a quarterback to do in an NFL offense is just come in run my system, right? Like, and then hopefully you get better throughout the years. And why do you get better? Because you get more comfortable in that system as well. Yeah. So for me, I think Daniel Jones is sliding to somebody where, like, hey, definitely in Superflex, there's a lot of other people right now. You can feel like, hey, Trevor Lawrence, I might feel a little bit more comfortable with Daniel Jones. We mentioned Bryce Young, Caleb, even a guy like Caleb Williams now.
What would you trade? Looking at Michael Pittman Jr., what would you trade for Michael Pittman Jr. if you're trying to acquire him and say, I'm buying this off of the 1 week? Like, what would you be willing to pay if someone said, hey, you needed to give me your second, which is like a mid-second, and you need to give me a third on top of it? Would you be willing to do that?
Easy if I'm a contender.
Second and third really doesn't mean much to me. So yes, I would definitely do that.
That's like I'm stealing. That's like stealing.
And I think that's roughly the going rate right now, but it might not be if we see another week or two of this, because he is, of the veteran guys we're talking about, the guys that used to have a lot of shine, he is the one that this could be a multi-year thing.
That's a going rate right now. I encourage every listener right now to go through a second and third offer at for Michael Pittman. 100%. Yeah, I would 100% do that. Again, he falls in the cat. I'm going to use this name a lot because it's a hot name. Bill Krosky-Merritt, I would give for Michael Pittman right now. If people are super excited about Bashaw Tutin, I'd give Bashaw Tutin for, a laundry list of running backs I'd give up right for Michael Pittman right now. They're not my starter running back, and I need some receiver help. He's probably you're right, Gary, he's probably one of the more cheaper wide receivers you can go get. He
was outside the top 180p to start the season. So
yeah, I'm sure that would start changing.
It's going to start to go up, but people tend to be a little weary of a guy that gave them that much bad news for multiple seasons.
No doubt about it. And some people will just be happy to get out from underneath him right now on a sell high point.
And he probably falls in the category, man. If I can be savvy for, hey, I'll give you my first. I'll give you my first and like some other like my first and third. I'll give you my first and third. Give me Michael Pittman in your second. Some along those lines as well. And some people are like, oh, gross, that's kind of gross. Well, next year's receiving class isn't that strong. If you're a contender, it's a late first. Late first historically are 50-50 bust altogether, not start. And the fact that he is 27 years old, if I can get 2 years of Michael Pittman, give me mid-range wide receiver 2 numbers, even to low-end wide receiver 2 numbers, to me, that is worth a step down in the second out of the first.
So we've already had 3 trades involving Michael Pittman
Love to hear
since week 1.
Yep.
Here's the 3 trades. You guys tell me where you land on it. This one will be pretty easy. Michael Pittman Jr. for a 26-second.
Stealing.
Sign me up.
Okay.
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman Jr. and Dylan Sampson for Calvin Ridley and Braylon Allen.
Oh, Pittman and Sampson easy.
Easy. Yep.
Very easily.
Very
Last one.
I can't wait till we talk about the Jets backfield. I can say talk about Braylon
Daniel
Allen.
Jones and Michael Pittman. So you get the stack
Stack it up, baby.
for Justin Fields.
I mean, those are like some pancakes.
That was probably the closest one for me.
That's a very. I would take the Pittman side because I think you get because again it's
Fields
about,
has the most overall upside.
yeah, but again we're talking. Obviously, that team probably needs receiver help, right? So like the combination of Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman together is going to give you more points than Justin Fields. Both of them probably offer just as much risk and long-term upside because they're both younger quarterbacks.
Of course, yeah.
To me, I would take the Pittman side because I'm assuming the guy needs receiver help.
And when you spread risk over multiple assets, it lowers the overall risk of not getting something back. So I think that's where.
Yeah, you got two darts to throw at the balloons at the fair.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, those are the three trades. So I think that kind of shows us where his value is right now. So if you're in, like we are, this is the time to probably go buy while he's still not too crazy expensive.
Yeah, I'm in.
Hey, Nerd Herd, want to tell you about a show that we've been doing live on YouTube where we go over your teams and we talk about how to fix your broken roster. It's called Roster Rescue. We do it live every single Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you want to get a part of that, just head to our Dynasty Nerds homepage, go under the store tab, and you'll find Roster Rescue right there. Perfect opportunity to get your rosters in shape before the season or even in the middle of the season to make sure that you can win a championship.
All right, let's go to the next one here. Hollywood Brown ended up being targeted like crazy.
35, almost 36% of the targets.
Yeah.
He had 16
targets.
I thought he had a 41% target share.
I don't know. This is the fantasy points data. If he had 16,
that's where I saw it too.
If he had 16, then these numbers are wrong because it shows 14 targets.
Oh, okay.
Either way, 19.9 points in that first game back. We know we're missing Xavier Worthy for a little bit. We're obviously missing Rashee Rice.
Mm-hmm.
So is Hollywood Brown back?
Only till he hurts himself. Can I say? I mean, can I bank on him getting injured or not?
That's up to you.
Listen, I think you look back at Marquise Brown and he's always been kind of dinged up. I think for now he's for sure back. Like they just don't have anyone else to throw the ball to. I mean, he got a ridiculous amount of the percentage there of targets, and they're a team that loves to pass the ball. I mean, this is going to be a situation in the short term where he's for sure back.
This tells me I don't think he's back from I don't feel comfortable with him. He's somebody like if anybody needs receiver help, if I can get a second for Hollywood Brown, I'm all over it. One, he's very injury prone. Two, there's already rumors that have been leaking out that the Chiefs might potentially try and trade for Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill will not. You and I talked about this in the bowl. Like Tyreek Hill will not be a Dolphin by week 9, week 10, right? Like
I'd be very surprised.
Dude, the way things are going there.
I'd be surprised if Mike McDaniel's still a Dolphin as well.
Right.
But that being said, I mean, there's already rumors that
it could be like next week, and I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? Or this week before the game. So.
You know, I think a couple of things here were, yes, he got a ton of targets, but even with like all those targets, man, he still only scored 19.9 points. You know what I mean? Like
on 16 targets, you would think.
Yeah. So like
be a little more
that wasn't overly impressive. Two, like that was a surprise. You know, he probably just slide right into that Xavier Worthy game plan, and they probably had a solid game plan for Xavier Worthy. So I'm sure that target share is going to kind of change a little bit.
But who else are they going to throw to if they don't make a Tyreek trade?
Garret and I talked I'm more excited about see if they can expand Jalen Royals.
He was hurt, so he didn't get to play.
Is he still? What was his injury? I don't remember.
It wasn't anything like IR worthy or anything like that. It was like a week or two type thing. I'll have to go back and look and see what it was. But he's one guy that like. There's one guy in each episode that I'm like, this is a guy I want to get on the cheap or on waivers or somebody just in case, because you go back to the camp reports. Jalen Royals was running with the ones a lot.
Jalen Royals, we all three of us liked him a lot.
And he
was one of the early receivers we talked about. Like, wow, this kid's good.
Yeah, and this could be one of those like sometimes guys just get serendipitous opportunities that they wouldn't normally get, but they take it and they take the bull by the horns and they hold on the job. That's what happened to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy just got everything kind of fell just right for him. And when he got his moment, he shined. I think Jalen Royals is one of those players that's talented enough. If he gets his moment, I do think he will shine.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jalen Royals is probably going to be a big win here. I think Holly Brown, I'm with you. Short-term Hollywood Brown here is a nice addition. Somebody you can definitely feel comfortable getting your starting lineup for sure.
For sure. But to your point, if I could get a second-round draft pick for him because there's a spike all of a sudden, I'm all for that. Like, get out from underneath this guy before he injures himself.
This gets me unbelievably unflaccid for Rashee Rice. Like, unbelievable. Like, he's going to see 1,000 targets when he comes back. He's going to be a wide receiver 1. I'm interested they make a move because even like the run game looked terrible.
My son is finally playing fantasy this year for the first time.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's just with his buddies, and it's a total redraft league. And I told him, I was like, get Rashee Rice late and just stash him. I don't care if you got to burn a bench spot on a short bench for 6 weeks. I was like, get him. It's going to be worth it at the end of the year.
I don't think he's back, by the way.
I can't see what the injury is, but I'm seeing a bunch of reports where Andy Reid is saying that there's a good chance that he'll be back this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Real excited for that. I think he like if I was doing sneaky starts, Jalen Royals would be in that list. So if for some reason you run shallow leagues, he's on a waiver wire, jump in there and scoop him up. And might be worth, for your redraft leagues, might be a nice little stash there as well. Temporarily slide into that role because it looks like Xavier Worthy is going to miss some time and potentially the year. You never know with these kind of injuries.
It's hard to say. Of all the guys where I was trying to decide if I was in or out, thinking they're back or not, this was probably the most difficult. We're at an hour. That's what he's saying.
Oh, that should have been.
Anyway.
But 1 is so much easier to flash, and then 2 zeros.
Oh, there's 2 zeros? Oh, they're trying to give me a handy under the table. Put my pants back on, I guess.
This was the hardest one for me to decide.
Selfish.
Are they back or are they not? Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen had 19.8 points. We just talked about that. We do kind of believe that this team is going to throw the ball a little bit more.
Right.
And it was funny. It was either Taylor Christensen or it was Andrew Mott. I don't know. I did shows with both those guys last week. And one of them said to me, like, is Keenan Allen a sleeper? And I was like, Keenan Allen's asleep. Like, and then of course he comes out and has an amazing game. Like totally looked like he was back.
Dude, back.
So
Back.
I'm leaning towards back.
Oh, he is so back. He might as well be a
Justin
scratcher.
Herbert's our best buds.
They are.
He loves him some Keenan.
Led the team in targets, one more than Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey had 9 targets. He had 10, 7 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdowns was the difference there between him and Ladd. Still love Ladd, but I think this is a dynamic duo, right? We're talking about Gary and
Ace
is what we're talking about. So get on
no
for
idea
the
what you're
ride
talking
because it's about to be very exciting.
It's a Saturday Night Live skit from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ambiguously gay duo.
Ace and Gary.
Yeah, Ace and Garret. They're great.
You got to
Love
go
those
look it
guys.
up. It's a cartoon. It was ridiculous.
Okay. All right.
So
Totally ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, I think Keenan Allen, like again, this team is throwing the football, right? You got a really good quarterback that he's familiar with, and Justin Herbert, and Keenan Allen is one of those guys. Why do they still win at an old age? Because he's such a good route runner. He knows how to get.
He's
open.
never had to
he
be
can
fast,
separate.
so it doesn't matter that he's not now.
He's lost a half step. That's all right.
That's okay.
I could lose 3 steps. I'll still get you.
Ladd McConkey looked absolutely fabulous in that game as well. But so Keenan Allen looked really good here. I think he's somebody a flex option.
26.5% target share too. So I mean, it's good. It's like those two guys. Hey, we're gonna pepper it over the top every once in a while to Quentin Johnston, see if he maybe will catch it.
And I think that's the thing. I think Quentin Johnston he's going to have a significant role on this team, but that role will not always translate to fantasy points. It's hey, here's some big play opportunities. Some weeks we'll hit them, some weeks we won't,
And he'll drop him.
and he'll drop them.
I mean, Quentin Johnson easily could have 3 touchdowns in that game. He literally he scored.
He dropped the
one
first one.
No, it was the second one.
Or was the second one? Okay.
Yeah, right off same play, right off his hands.
Yeah.
Right off his hands at the corner. Of the
And
end
you
zone.
saw his other catches. There was still a lot of body catching that really hasn't changed, and it's not going to.
No,
And-
that's what he is.
And he's a fine best ball type of,
Sure.
he's going to have those 2 touchdown games like he did this week. and there's going to be a lot of zeros as well as far as touchdowns go. So, but I think you're right. I think I was hesitant, but I was like, I think he's kind of back, which is weird because he's the oldest guy on the list, and jumped from the old team and back, but he looked legit.
That's great to put him in the show so that you can say, hey, dude, this guy's legit. Go out and get him. He's going to be super cheap.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
For anyone that's a
Third-round
contender,
pick.
yes.
2/3 probably.
Maybe.
3/3. Who cares?
Sure.
They're third-round picks.
I'll give you
I
my
agree.
third-round pick
I think
for the
2/3
rest of
you
my
get it done.
life.
I gave a third-round pick for Amari Cooper. It was 2028, and it was right before he retired. Dude retired. I was like, all right, whatever. It's a third-round pick 3 years from now. I don't give a crap.
Yeah,
whatever.
thirds don't mean anything.
I will.
That's not true, Rich. Don't lie to me. Thirds mean something to you. The other day, he talked me out of getting the third-round pick for Austin Eckler. He's like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, my gosh. You're going to talk me out of a third-round pick, mister? They don't matter, so I settled for the fourth.
You're gonna beat me up.
No, but I gave you more than that.
No.
Oh.
No, this is what it was. The third was there. It was the fourth that you didn't want to give me, so I settled for a third and fifth. That's what it was.
I gave you,
You're like, I can't give you the fourth.
Yeah, I get. No, he texted me. He's like, "Is the fourth really gonna be the deal breaker?" I'm like,
apparently it was.
I told him I was like, I don't really need Austin. Like, I'm happy to pay the third, but like,
He's like, thirds don't matter to me, but fourths do.
Fourths.
Dang it.
I still want to get. I still want to give them to him.
All right, last one
Can't
here.
eat all my candy. Come on,
Last one.
Daddy's got a sweet tooth.
Stefon Diggs. He didn't quite get as many points as the other guys on the list.
Yeah.
11.7 points. But he looked pretty good in the game. The offense seemed a little off. They weren't quite gelling like you would hope in week one.
This was the one I didn't get to watch as much visually.
There wasn't as many highlights to watch in this game.
There's a new number one receiver in town now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Come on, slap it.
Hey, Booty.
So
Shake
Diggs,
it, baby.
back, not back. Is it the injury? Is it like, or is he going to be fine?
This one's a hard one for me to nail down. Only got 15% of the targets, right? So, I think to your point, Rich, Booty was kind of the guy that was getting the most of that kind of action.
Yeah, everything. Targets, yards, air yards, receptions, everything.
Right, and it's just hard to say, is this injury related or is it like chemistry related, and it'll either one of those things, like it could get better as the year goes on, or is it the fact that he's just getting old? I don't know where that one lands.
I lean toward this being actually a nice little opportunity to buy, because there was a little bit of hype building going into the season. And an 11-point game, 11.7, that's not bad. It's not a bad game.
It's not bad.
There's just nothing special. But if he happened to catch one of those passes for a touchdown, now we're like, he's back.
Yeah.
He's back, So I actually think this presents a nice buy opportunity for a contender where, somebody might be like, well, I don't want to give you Keenan Allen.
I think if he got a higher target share, I'd feel better. Like if he, you know what I mean?
I think I don't trust Boutte to be anywhere close to that regularly. I think it was a nice week one thing, and he had some big plays downfield and things like that. I don't know that I trust that.
Okay. You know who? Here's a little talk.
Okay.
That
Talk to me.
was unplanned for. Speaking of Stefon Diggs, first of all, I think he's on the field, so he's back in my eyes. And he's got a major injury. It's almost somewhat a surprise he's even on the field at week one. That's impressive in itself. I saw some of that game, and I'm gonna tell you, I didn't think Drake May looked good at all.
He didn't have a great game. No, I agree. From what I saw in that game, I didn't love it.
But again, we're gonna sit here and all these quarterbacks and Bryce Young looks terrible. Drake May's ADP is drastically higher. Come on now, son. You got he did not look good.
Yeah. I agree. I wasn't thrilled with what I saw.
I have one Drake May share, and he's my third quarterback in that league. I have Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow as well. It's a best ball league too. And I'm just I literally thought after that game, I was like, ooh, man, I want to see another week, but Drake May might be something I'm looking to go get another I might try and flip for can I get JJ McCarthy? Not anymore. I can't. Damn it. I missed the boat.
JJ McCarthy's game last night was hilarious because through the first three quarters, I was like, this game looks way too fast for this kid. He is not ready. And then a switch flip.
Well, those two flipped, right? It was
first drive, Caleb Williams looked unbelievable.
Amazing.
Oh, he looked so calm and poised.
He looked terrible. Every possession after that. That was him escaping the rush.
Yeah, he was even more agile and mobile than I remember him being. He was
Agreed.
really.
He was electric.
He had a great feel for like
We're
what
talking
was going
Caleb
on.
right now.
Yeah, we're talking Caleb.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted
So-
you said we're talking both guys.
Yeah, we're talking
Caleb
but-
Williams.
Yeah, Caleb did. But
His last name is Williams.
but yeah, it was really interesting with McCarthy because I was like, man, it's one game, it's early, but it's the Bears. They're not an amazing defense. Like, I'm surprised at what's going on
That
here.
pick six was awful.
Oh my gosh, that was such a bad throw.
Dude.
That was
Dude.
I feel
And
like
I was like,
I could have jumped that route.
What
Like,
As soon as you let go, I'm
happened?
like, well, that's kind of flat.
Yeah, off
there he
my
is.
back foot to the far opposite sideline, like woof. But got to give the kid
Dude.
credit. Like
Oh, hell
he
yeah.
had moxie to like,
Yeah.
and that's what you want to see out of Bryce Young. You know, like, hey, I've played like crap all game, but I got to figure it out right now and step up. And JJ did it.
Guess who
absolutely did it.
finishes a QB1 this week?
Rich is like, I'm getting every victory lap possible
JJ
that I
McCarthy.
can.
Dude scored 20 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the youngest quarterback in the league. Had to get a little worked in there. Looked
Yeah.
really good. Good drive on the ball. Love this system. Love this offense. Tail two stories there. First half, second. Caleb
Not
on the
even
hand-
first half, second half, first 3 quarters to the last
Yes.
quarter.
Caleb looked inaccurate, like no tomorrow. Again, not jumping the script here too, but like Caleb is somebody who I talked about earlier in the summer. It's like, man, like there's just something there where like I would love to like just get off of Caleb.
Start
where
Tyson
he is.
Bagent. I would love to just
No, not that.
Gosh.
He's fine. He looks so dynamic in that first drive
joking.
too. But
He did. I want to give it a little more time with Ben Johnson. I'm not going to start panicking until like week 4 or 5.
two
Like,
got Caleb a little worried. Drake May a little bit more
So
worried
you think
about
by
Drake May.
then Bagent will be in? That's when you're gonna start feeling good about
I'm not
that
hitting the panic button on either one of those guys
I'm
yet.
kidding.
I saw, especially out of Drake May, I saw a lot last year that I really liked. Caleb, I saw less that I liked last year.
Correct.
So it might be a little bit of a shorter leash, especially with that good of a coach like you.
Nothing that Caleb did in college translates to the NFL, and and it looks like it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's like
Except
having
that first drive, like that first drive is exactly what you wanted. Like he saw the check, like maybe he missed a guy or two, but like
Sure.
he took the smart, safe. Let's march it down the field. Like
he missed.
I was like,
he missed
whoa.
Loveland from what they said, right? And,
Yeah.
and it looked like he was pretty upset
anyway.
about that.
Concerned. That's all.
That's our first
Just from ADP standpoint.
first in season show in the books.
Well, tune in tomorrow because we're gonna go over all the running back. Not all of them. We're gonna cover a
The
lot.
conundrums.
Yeah, we're going to look at all the teams' running back situation. We're going to talk some dynasty fantasy football running backs. If you enjoyed this show, you like the shows, please take the time in season. Leave us a rating or review. If you're on YouTube, like us, subscribe there, anywhere you can find us. But, on iTunes, for us, a lot of people are looking for good podcasts, especially in season. We are always happy that we are at the top of the list when it comes to dynasty fantasy football podcasts in season. Your ratings, reviews help us a ton. So if you just take a minute or two, leave a rating and a review, we'd be very grateful. We'll be back tomorrow with more Dynasty Fantasy Football talk. Running backs.
Adios.